Okay, so I think it was yesterday we got an announcement of a new Star Wars game, which feels like we've had a lot of them over the last year or so.
Yeah. I couldn't, when I saw this, I was like, we didn't know that?
Wait, what?
Yeah,
exactly.
For some reason, I thought we knew that already.
Yeah, so this one's going to be developed by Skydance New Media, which is the studio that was founded in 2019 by Amy Hennig. And so the reason that you're kind of feeling like, oh, didn't we already know this kind of thing, probably is because a while back, Amy Hennig was working on a Star Wars game with EA's Visceral Games. Of course, that game ended up getting canceled. And it was like, oh, man. So because like Amy Hennig, you know, she leaves Naughty Dog, didn't really do a bunch of stuff, and then gets tied to the Star Wars game. Like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Not only is it a new Star Wars game, which back then that was kind of a big deal because we didn't have a lot of them.
Still special. Yeah.
And then the fact that it was her and it was going to be her next big project. Of course, she works on that for a couple of years, it feels like. And then
Amy Hennig is in charge of story, right? She's a story writer.
And so we thought we were going to get that, and then it ends up getting canceled. So it feels like Amy Hennig just unfortunately hasn't done anything in a long time. Not that she hasn't done anything, but she's been doing things that didn't get to bear fruit for, you know, whatever reason.
Right.
So I know that I thought that it was really cool, and I was excited to see, you know, what ended up coming from that relationship. And so now with her new studio that she created, so hopefully her game won't get canceled. I'm assuming it's up to her if it gets canceled, or I guess Lucasfilm as well. But she's going to be able to work on this one. And I thought it was really cool because there were several different places that were announcing this. But the one that I saw first was a tweet from Amy Hennig, and she was retweeting the article from StarWars.com where they kind of announced the partnership with her new studio and everything. But her tweet said, "Never tell me the odds." And I thought that was awesome because it's like, oh, she's using a hotline and like, you know, just all the turmoil that she'd been in and everything. I thought that was really, really cool. So I'm super excited about this. I mean, it's an announcement, so we're probably like years and years and years away from this.
Right.
But it's kind of being described as a richly cinematic action adventure game featuring an original story, which I think is kind of similar to the lines of the way it was being described for the game that she was working at with Visceral Games. So I'm excited to see what ends up happening. Again, I'm keeping myself a little tempered or trying to, because it's probably so far away that I don't even know when it's going to be, but I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about anything Star Wars. I don't want, obviously, it feels like we're about to get a lot of Star Wars content. Who else announced? Quantic Dream, right? Announced they're doing a Star Wars game as well.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're getting a lot of Star Wars. We got Book of Boba Fett recently. Obviously, we had the seasons of Mandalorian. So we had the game come out. What was it? New Republic. What was it? Whatever it was, right? What's it called? The game?
Well, Knights of the Old Republic is being remade.
No, the Old Republic.
The one we just got like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. What was it? It was kind of like
the one with the redhead
guy. They called
it
a Souls-like. Yeah. What was it called?
Oh, right.
I forget because I didn't play it.
Sabers Untied.
I don't know why I'm blanking.
So
on
anyway,
I know, right? Me too.
What I know, people are yelling.
I want to say The Force Awakens, but
right
like
now.
that's not right.
The Force Unleashed. Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed. There you go.
Is that what it was?
No.
No. Force Unleashed. That was the one from like
That's the
PS3
game.
and 360.
Yeah.
Come on, Router. You're over here saying with such authority, making us look even dumber.
At least he was right. Fallen Order.
Yes.
Fallen Order. Yes.
Yeah. Fallen Order.
Oh man.
Everybody just take a breath.
Good Lord.
Okay. We're a video game
Call yourself
podcast.
Star Wars fans.
Also, Greedo shot first, so that's weird.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what I heard, at least.
Fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
I will fight you.
Yeah.
But his head moved and dodged.
Yeah, exactly. He did like the Michael Jackson head movement. Jamal. Okay. So the one thing I don't want to have happen is that there's so much Star Wars content that it gets like lackluster and just like in the kind of thing.
Yep.
But I mean, Amy Hennig of Uncharted fame and coming from Naughty Dog and everything like that.
That's exciting.
You're like, okay. And that like almost needs to be more exciting than, you know, we've been going, I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've been going back and forth a little bit with somebody about a Superman game on Twitter. And it's like, if Amy Hennig said, hey, I'm doing a Superman game, I'll be like, okay, starting at the story, here we go. And so that is
Right.
exciting from the stance of you're like, okay, well, she knows how to tell a story. So I don't almost care what the graphics look like as long as the story's good. Because
Yeah.
for me personally, now a lot of people loved Fallen Order. I didn't personally.
Right.
But I just know that story is, for me, more important in Star Wars than a lightsaber to me.
Right.
Yep.
Ed, how does it get you going? I know you're in Star Wars land right now with Lego. And so do you think you'll be kind of, obviously, like Chris said, this will probably be years away. But are you can you be excited about a Star Wars game in the midst of playing a Star Wars game?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm kind of with you, Gabriel. I wasn't in love with Fallen Order, but I liked that it was there. And I'm down to play. I mean, I think I've played, I wouldn't even say most of them, a lot of the recent iterations of Star Wars games, and enjoyed them. But so, yeah, I'm down, especially with Amy involved. That's, for me, that's what's,
Absolutely.
I'm more excited about that than I was, not even with, I guess I was equally excited for Quantic just because of a different, they're both good storytellers.
Yeah,
so-
well, they tell a good story. Yeah,
So,
exactly. And I think that, too, that goes back to my point. Like, when I saw Quantic Dream, not only does Quantic Dream say, hey, this is going to be really hi-fi, high fidelity, but also we know how to tell a compelling story.
Yeah.
And so, they're kind of all in one. Tim, what about you? Does this get you like...
Yeah. Yes. 1,000 times yes, I'm in.
Yeah,
that sounds
good.
great. Anything with her, it sounds fantastic. Just I'm with you, Gabe, because I'm a story guy as well. It's Star Wars. Let's get like something really like kind of something that we haven't seen yet. I'd like to see something we haven't seen, or an angle or something else. But really, like, that's what I loved about Rogue One, because it took one little part of a script and they made an entire movie out of it. And it's still one of my favorite movies to this day. So I want to see kind of that in a video game for this, like take something and just really expand it and let's make something amazing with it. But she's a great storyteller. I'm in. Let's go.
I know that's right. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on that, gents?
No, I there was a tweet I saw that had listed out all of the Star Wars games that had kind of been announced, but I can't find it, and I thought I had saved it. But it's also, it felt like when I was reading the list, I was like, oh, that's a lot of Star Wars games coming, at various times, I'm assuming. But it was also like, okay, well, this one's an FPS game, and this one's going to be like a action adventure, and this one's going to be like, while there may have been like two of them that were FPS, it just felt like a nice variety. Like, okay, whatever kind of game you're in, there'll be a cool Star Wars experience, but it didn't necessarily feel like, unless you're just a big nerd or you just love every game style, it didn't feel like, oh, there's this vomit of Star Wars everywhere, I'm going to be overrun because maybe I'm only into this style, or maybe I'm only into this style. And so to me, it'll be just the one game, but in the universe, it'll be several of them. I thought that was kind of a good way to look at it, to not feel like, well, we're about to be just totally overwhelmed. Just like, well, but maybe it's like pick your poison kind of thing.
Yeah, and I do agree with that can be great. I think as growing up, especially over the last 20 years, Star Wars has been such a special thing in the sense of like, they release a movie, they just do one, and then they go away, they went away for a year, they release the other one, went away for a year, release another one. Then we had that long gap between like 1, 2, and 3, before we got 7, 8, and 9. And so it's just interesting, like all of a sudden living in this Disney, getting a lot of Star Wars at once kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel, even with Book of Boba Fett, I was like, oh, that's fast. Oh, that feels fast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you had to capitalize coming off of Mandalorian if you want to tell that kind of story. And so it's just very interesting to be getting a bunch of Star Wars at once, when I feel like growing up, I never got a bunch of Star Wars at once.
Right.
But I didn't also take in like Clone Wars and the cartoons and stuff like that. So